The availability and access to water strongly influence economic and social development. In this regard, the central and western regions of Uganda face considerable challenges in meeting the social and economic needs of its population. The regions generally characterized by a high economic dependence on local natural resources in form of agriculture and pastoralism, in which the variability of climate and the availability of water to a large extent determine production. This, coupled with its relatively low development status, making the economies and social character of the region particularly vulnerable to changes in the availability of water over space and time. Uganda has a warm tropical climate with temperatures falling in the range of 25 to 29 degrees centigrade and annual rainfall of 1,000 millimeters to 1,500 millimeters. The rainy seasons are from March to May and September to November. The period of January to February and again June to August are dry. Agriculture is the core sector of Uganda's economy and the largest employer. Over 80% of the population are employed in the sector and contribute about 75% of agricultural production. Water for production refers to the development and utilization of water resources for productive use in crop irrigation, livestock, aquaculture, rural industries, and other commercial uses. Water for production is key to the successful implementation of the Government of Uganda's plan for poverty eradication. Its principal focus is the provision of dams and valley tanks for increased water storage, especially for use during dry seasons. In August 2017, the Ministry of Water and Environment assigned 3A Strategic Management Consultants Limited to undertake consultancy services for fostering sustainable management, functionality and utilization of water for production facilities, storage through establishment of farmer field schools at water production facilities of Mbarara Dam in Mbarara District, Kachinga Dam in Sembabule District, Isingiro and Kagamba Valley tanks, as well as Kagango Dam in Isingiro District, Rakai bulk water supply system in Rakai District, Chabal and Kabingo Valley tanks in Sheema District. A total number of 2,040 farmers and 68 farmer field schools were to benefit from this project. At the inception and situation analysis stage, all the 8 sites were visited. Various meetings were held with the district sub-county officials and community water users who were going to be involved in the assignment activities. Later, 3 dams, 4 valley tanks and 1 bulk water system located in the same districts within the project area were also visited. The facilities were in a sorry state, needed rehabilitation and establishment or review of management structures. Site situation analysis reports indicated poor operation and maintenance of facilities like leaking overhead tank in Kabingo Valley Tank, poor sanitation at the cattle troughs in Kagango Dam, broken water taps at Kagango Dam, poor facility maintenance at Isingiro Valley Tank, cultivation of crops at the banks of Mbarara, direct animal watering and washing of clothes, poor catchment management along the slopes of Rakai bulk water supply, poorly maintained structures at Rakai bulk water system, cattle watering directly at Kachinga Dam, non-functional cattle troughs at Kakinga Dam, mismanaged irrigation pipes at the vegetation demonstration plot at Kachinga Dam. In addition, 4 successful farmer groups were also visited outside the project area in the districts of Mubende and Chiboga. The consultant also held consultative meetings with the Ministry of Water and Environment and NGOs implementing the field farmer schools approach in the districts of Mubende, Chiboga, Nakasongola, Luwero, Sembabule and Nakaseke districts. These mainly centered on successes and challenges registered with the current field farmer schools approach in relation to management of the water facilities, possible solutions to challenges, operation and maintenance, needs costs, and mechanisms for user-free collection. The information gathered guided the consultants in the establishment of field farmer schools in the new project sites. In order to ensure sustainability of the constructed water for production facilities, 3A consultants conducted stakeholder engagement meetings with the district and town council leadership to discuss and agree on the memorandum of understanding between the central government, district and town council indicated in the different roles played by Ministry of Water and Environment and district local government as stakeholders, and how to attain the set goals and objectives for sustainable functioning of water for production facilities. The monitoring framework was also discussed and agreed upon during the same meeting.
You are saying is there a demand for?
Are there farmers? Facilities, a bulk water facility.
Yes.
Why have you decided to categorize it as bulk? Then the others are ordinary facilities. Then another one is I'm also interested to know whether the number of people, farmers in the farmer field schools is the same across the board or differs from place to place. And what decides that the farmer field school should have this number of people?
The presentation covered the approach, the number of farmer field schools established, and the recruitment of local facilitators, trainings conducted among the farmers, and the establishment of kitchen gardens. Due to lack of awareness by local communities towards proper management of water facilities, the consultant organized community awareness creation meetings at each of the 8 facilities to raise community awareness on the facility. The consultant informed the participants that the Ministry of Water and Environment had provided water for production facilities to the communities to help solve water production related issues.
Ministry twagala tulabe nti amazzi gaffe gano gawangaala ate nga tugakola ki tugafunamu
gira batungi omukozesa amaizi okola ki okwetunguura.
Farmers were also informed that the farmer field schools approach was being used to effectively and efficiently utilize the water in the facility to improve on their agricultural practices and standard of living.
Tugenda kubakolamu omulimu tukolemu gurupu z'abalimi n'abalunzi ng'ekigererwa kya byonna kuba nti tulina enkulaakulana mu kitundu nga tukozesa amazzi gaffe tulabe nga tuganyulwamu.
In order to ensure continuity and sustainability of the farmer field schools approach, 3A consultants recruited local facilitators for each site to facilitate activities for farmer field schools of each dam. The successful candidates were briefed on their roles and responsibilities, after which they were introduced to the sub-county leaders and water users in a meeting held at the various water facilities.
Era kugombolola eyo tulonzeeyo abantu ab'omu kitundu tugenda babalaga abantu babiri ate mubamanyi mubeera nammwe abantu abagenda kuba babakolamu omulimu babasomesa ennima n'ennunda ennungi naye nga byonna byetooloolera ku ki mazzi ku ddaamu yaffe
abala abasomese n'aninsaba abambe babiri abala bo mu katimba ke bemerere mu baleeta. N'aninsaba ngo abasomesa butwaronda agomborora bije tubereke abataka babarebe babamanyi.
Abantu abe tulonze ababiri tugenda ate kubayita mu musomo gwa wiki namba naye tebagenda kubeera bano bajja kubeera oba Mbarara beegatte ku bannaabwe abalala mu disitulikiti ze mbagambye tubasomese ate bo bakomewo nabo bakole ki babasomese.
Refresher trainings were organized for the facilitators as a way of enhancing their performance in the field. Some of the refresher trainings were joint and conducted at selected sites to share experiences, particularly on developing seasonal calendars and climate change adaptation strategy, establishment of soil and water conservation mechanisms, as well as nursery bed.
Lwakire tubusimba bwetuti ndabanga amazzi gatonya okuva eyo bakola ki gaserengeta mukirabe bannange olina okutunuulira ki akaserengeto kavaawa obusigo bwe bubanga butono nnyo kubanga obusigo buli mu sizes obutono nnyo amabanga galina kuba nago maki matono obunene amabanga galina kuba ki tumanyiridde bino kati bino ojja kusuula awamu tuteeseemu evvu lwaki kolanga ddagala
eritta obuwuka obuyinza okubeera mu ttaka naye lwaki ogira onyenyanyeenya ng'olaba
kalimu kati kiba kisingako n'oba ng'ogezaako okugoberera layini we ziri.
After the refresher training, facilitators organized a meeting to meet community members interested in forming the farmer field schools. During mobilization meetings, the community was informed that the farmer field schools approach was open to all gender categories. More sensitization on the approach was done to ensure a deeper insight. Training on the articles that should be considered when drafting a constitution to guide farmer field school operations and activities. Participants were informed that the articles indicate the directions that guide the entire operation of the farmer field schools.
Twena ko tulyani mamwe n'ebintu by'abagahene by'abakibona konka twayeyeta abakito mabera dam farmers association chikaba chibi tinya na ronda nimwe mwaronda banimba ekwenye manchurugire yo kacheko ko mu gihe cy'iki atugera kongere kumenya member okuba member bisangizo cyo mufitekereza ecyo kubanzana de ko ikirize gukora ibyo buhingi nuko na nobulisi obuhingi nango buki no mukikiriza mwena.
The consultant engaged the participants on the leadership structure of the school and the qualities of a good leader. Participants were asked to list the possible positions of leadership in the group, and all agreed that the group should have a chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, treasurer, women / youth affairs in charge, and defense.
Mwenu mungandre mugaso ya treasurer niha na baganda yuko nitsinza kwakandre bintu numbyemanyira mbeni mwananga muzeyi
umugasho gwa treasurer omukuru yaba treasurer w'ikibina ashibiye kubona hereza report ngora kiko kushitamu cyeno hawo
kubona hereza report ekwatansi agiseke kiko cyeno hawo
advisor n'umuntu okuba nawona ndakushana information abo kuba ekyari kureba ngo kigobe kyaba kirungi hata nashitamisa abantu abadereka.
The consultant continued with the presentation on how to draft bylaws and their respective penalties to the offenders. Training of the farmers on the criteria to be followed while selecting a demonstration site that was to be used for study purposes by all the farmer field school group members. Participants were taken through training about selection of the best enterprise for a particular farmer field school.
Okay. Then group ya kabiri mwigambizini
abamugu tinuru to chicho
ekindi omukrops n'oriyo natekereza ekishaka nka nyowe mu kwetegereza kwanje nibyo mfutekereza bikuru handike reba please no shaza handike kandi utakakuwa.
Farmers discuss the enterprise selection in groups.
Then we just talk about structures going to come cases in the crashes in the mean. Sentence was actually not going yes. Aha, production that vegetables, rally, Kashanga, Lebana, Yellow, finance, and project was a program, then equipment. When Kashanga was so Kajiraji, but Tahareza no. I did was a costume to Chenkamasha, Nana, Nanyasi, Nanaria, Washangava, yes, finance. Kwa kureti jamstungero ni ya yokureba rutonje tashangeje termo no twaheza twaba ende yes nyingi twashanga banana yes ya yes adunamsha twashanga dare yes ya yes adunini twashanga vegetables ende yes makunya twashanga pineapple ende yes isuma mlana hatu wajam selecting enta kwa kujaba ende yes mba mingi twashanga toche watwara namba yukuba twashanga dare yatwara namba ya kazi twashanga vegetable yaba namba kusha dene yaba namba
twara no kinga mboga oka twasa twaje twaza kinga kabanya no watsa kinga ra ikiri no watsa kinga mboga bisha to hoka te tuste nyanya na no turai so ntujiza takeru trabe tuni ko kakora nga post kinga sto wahinga mboga wahinga urutoke then twarisenga different twarisa at least entura just get it kwani tuweza kuwa kama exams kunuka then kusema so kwa shanga mtu basa kushanga tune small scale konga kumwingine kutakushanga so kwa ila mtu kutakushanga so tuila kwanza hakoje uboni basa kujera large scale so large scale into abere toche kora hindo toche hakeli msinge kwa basa kusa hakoje kwa shanga mtasi ya mnongo then never after muna bin the back from right side and back to the then tuitama when the chapel was yawe ugongo polisi na jaji na kubasa na nokinga na kubasa so kwa shanga kama na kufa haeleza yes then tuanza washanga market na kama yevi to product industry hamwa washanga ni wasa marketinga kwa shanga ngei mwa ngande kwa basa marketinga basa kwa dele ni kwa yes enterprise mitanzi washa
doza mule bebazenga bakolaki babipima sinzira ku bibuuzo biri kati tebesanga nga bagambye baba bakola ekisookerako ddala kyebayinza okuteekako essira ebiki bagamba ekyokubiri eki ente ekyokusatu enva naye toyinza okwesanga nga wetugenze nga tugamba awalino finance owokutandika n'amaanyi ng'atandise n'enva entono osobola okusooka okukola ki enva naye nga tetwagala mu bigatte at least obeereko ebintu by'omanyiddwa nga biki satu nti oyo mulimi wa bitooke mulimi wa nva mulimi waki mulunzi tulikana banange kati kino kibadde kyakuyigirako.
Participants were taken through a training about a farmer field schools action plan, which included what, who, where, and when the activity will be conducted. Participants were trained on the advantages of being in a group and the benefits of having a group vision vis-a-vis the individual vision. Lastly, farmers were trained on how to set up an improved sack mold garden, which is commonly known as a kitchen garden. The training was conducted by the entire team of 3A consultants, local facilitators, and the farmers who had attended the training session.
Ahantu za kushitamasha kashaho kamachi tugapachiremu kutura gumana tupangita kandi gumandiraba nibikika hamabari tupangita kandi kangahi nohe turagene ntwara za karina
twakora fote mukaga nokwe twareba ngo niko kakushemera ngo no basa kuri 10 no basa kuri 5 no basa kora sezo kwenda ngo kaza kubatine amadara go kwaja ngo karina binga shikani nabe wonka kuturahike hariyezi izasigara
ebintu no mubreba birimo bukugu konka wabata maze ngo gushamba
ahava tuzakutaho umuhanda gwitu dona gurebo kuruhukira uko abizo bwiro bw'indi migareto nse
nyowe
ingahigarara bifutambura kuzakwenda
ano mugamba mutagine
uba mugareto mu
no kureba yitareba
ninde
ayo gumiza muno kore byawe
aza weza kiriza kwamba bataho
eno group bagitaki
kunakirire nkembo no wenda no kitahiburiye byo kuriye
obujurizi mwabuhurira ati mwene mubazi twakubaretera
3A consultants rejuvenated new water facility management structures and established farmer field schools. The Farmer Field Schools Association is composed of representatives from each farmer field school, while the Farmer Water Facility Committee is composed of members elected by the water users who must belong to a farmer field school. Group formalization involved constituting the farmer field schools into teams with shared goals, objectives, and a common set of rules for running the group. During this phase, meetings with the registered farmers were organized to undertake the leadership elections. The leaders elected included chairperson, vice, treasurer, secretary, publicity, and committee members. In addition to electing farmer field school leaders, each school elected 2 lead farmers. These were farmer field school members that were exemplary in replicating the practices that would be demonstrated on. Through a series of meetings, the facilitators facilitated each of the farmer field school to formulate a constitution.
Ikigendeywe munonga government yake kubataho yakora group mwakora group mwagitaho mukora constitution kandi constitution ejo mugashogwayo no kurinda group yanyu kureba group ejo irimo kutekateka gukora byo nabyo mbuhandike mutamuna amateka agakutegeka group ejo kubasa kugira ngo kumwakuba mwine ubuhabuzo mukwenda kutunga manu muyamisa constitution ejo kandi buri kimwe cyane kimukuza gukora ibiragire birategeka constitution ejo ibiragire birabategeka byo nabyo mu constitution ejo ikindi kumukora mwatamwe ibiragiro mutamuna za fine kandi fine nezo kugira ngo kugira cyo washobya nkamemba hatuba kucyatinga ka fine ako kugira ngo group ejo egume ryo mbuteka etakugwagwana mu kugenda n'ibiragiro kandi amateka gakora.
All the farmer field schools have group saving schemes with varying saving terms. Some of the schools have bank accounts. The Ministry of Water and Environment provided planting materials, fertilizers and agrochemicals to the schools for validation, multiplication and commercial enterprises, as well as a list of agro-input suppliers in the respective districts to the local facilitators. The facilitators and farmer field school members were trained in establishment and management of demonstration gardens, harvesting and post-harvest handling, and exchange visits. Each farmer field school established a demonstration garden of a crop of their choice.
kati tuba tulina okuteekamu ki kitasalasala tukekereza ensigo kyekimu kyanguwa okusimba kyanguwa okukoola kyanguwa okukungula layini ng'osansaga busansazi wandisimbyemu bikasooli 200 nze nnyinza okusimbamu bikasooli 225
Soka kuteekako ttaka.
osaako ettaka ttono n'osuulamu n'olinnya kuba enkoko zijja kujja zikole ki zigakule n'oleeta ensigo zo 2 tugenda kusimba ensigo meka mubadde musimba meka mu 5. Yes, singa kiba kirungi n'otabula ow'embuzi n'otabula n'ow'ente n'otabulamu oba mulina enkoko n'otabulamu n'obitabulatabula n'otakozesa kimu kyokka. Watermelon erina okuba nga bagyalirira kubanga watermelon bw'etuula ku ttaka ejja kuvunda.
The school members were cautioned that if management of the demonstration garden is not done well, the effort of establishment will be a waste. With no reference to a group action plan, the schools were guided on the following practices: boosting growth of young plants, weed control, scouting for pests and disease attack, pest and disease prevention, and control management of water stress.
Bakatwegesa okuhinga je orutoke n'okurwara n'okuruboneza kandi n'okuteeramu ebitabeebi. So ebitabeebi n'ebintu bikuru munonga nibikwata amaizi kandi bigaruka bikwata obujemu.
The school members were trained to determine when the crops are ready for harvesting. With reference to the group action plan, every Farmerfield school established a demonstration garden purposely to validate some of the agronomic practices and season-long learning activities.
Abaminisitule y'amazzi abawota gezaako kutusomesa naye tulaba nga ensomesa gye batusomesezaamu ejja kutuyamba singa tunaaba nga twenyigidde mu bulungi.
Some of the members have replicated the practices learned from the demonstration gardens. The practices replicated including using small area to grow vegetables, line planting, correct spacing, intercropping, soil and water conservation techniques.
It saves time engeri gye kiri ekitini okozesa kifo kitini eddagala erifuuyire okozesa litini. Kino kituyambe in fact proposing na kuzimbayo ebirala mbenga nyina green pepper, carrot, ennyanya kwega kinyanguwire nkozesa akafo kano akatini kennyina kampe kyenjagala.
Singa mba njagala okufuna ekyokulya amangu zinyanguyira okujja wano okunoga ate ne tukola ki ate ekyasinga okunsanyusa nga okuzifuuyira tuzikola munankani mukugamba mu ddagala eryaffe ery'ekinnansi eryoganic nga si bye bino eby'ekizungu ebyokufuuyira.
The technologies used differ from place to place because of the differences in the terrain of land and the adopted enterprises. The most common technology has been the construction of contour trenches to reduce surface runoff and loss of soil fertility. Farmers were supported with pasture that grows faster for their livestock. To enhance the performance of the established management structures, members of these structures were trained on management and leadership.
So omutano kuruho naguboreka evina itwitwe tutubatu kugangana buli wiki omusomesa mwino kwiyebona ekizibu numba mwine zikushana kandi mukora hone mukora sharemu mukora kiyo ekimukwega kuri umuntu ojero chikoro wawe ko kugaruka nikikuhama no kumuzo omusomesa
ingende rwawe arishebe kugira ati kugamba asende n'ebitabo byaki ate ibyo byona mbija kubashomesa kumuraba mwenda kubishoma tubereke buri kigo kugira ati okutiri gukora umwari ubwawe ebina bitu tutukwe na twaza kukolesenda tubaba kuzibika umikoa owo mubiki zikumenya tugenda tuzikore kandi tugire ki tuzikozese.
For organizational and leadership capacity, all the Farmerfield schools formed were refreshed on group dynamics. They were guided to identify livestock enterprises whose productivity could be enhanced with the use of water for production facility.
Tunafune chance twashanga chance ejo tujine kukutura selecting ezembuzi tukuzigura mu farms ezitwine cyarugaju kembuzi zinkuriye banyu mazi kubuganga urebe mbuzi umugongo uri mbuzi rindimbo nangwa Mr. Didas wano tuguza muna ngwa kembuzi nkemwe tutandikana urumo embuzo umugongo kwayo wegura umuriyengwa umome kukire umekono urembuzi waje twarije mbuzi ne basa kuzara abana babiri kunkano mutija kugura kabuzi mukashanga kabuzi kari kagufu akabuzi kari kagufu na nembuzi yikaraza riteri kukura
so yaza arabwana ikumira bubiri wajise miezi hebi zifanya wakakuze baro zingahe 5 izo sete zingahe so emitwaro yokakwezi wazi tuwe musande ibi wajiya kuria wona nobiya ukumena nembo basi.
The Ministry of Water and Environment supported farmer field schools with animals, cement and iron sheets, while capacity building on structure construction and livestock husbandry practices was to be provided by the sub-county veterinary officers.
Musanyufu kosawe n'enyiri wamaze tukwasa milioni 1.5 tugenda kugulamu embuzi tuguleko n'amabaati tuguleko n'eddagala ligenda okulabirira ensolo zaffe ezo.
Tukashaba abasiri embuzi tubasima habo kuzituletera izoba batuletera embuzi mutwetungure tubeho mwenu tubasima habo embuzi ezi tuza kurisa nitwetungure zibone school fees y'abana betu.
Tuli basanyufu nnyo olwaleero kuba gavumenti yatukoledde ebintu bingi yasooka netuwa ebyasooka netusanyuka kati ezzeemu etuwadde ebirala tugenda kufuna embizi
kandi nashemerwe erizooba kureba ngo aba AS3 batuhereza sente zo kuguramu amatungo grupu yanjye tukashaba empunu batuhereza sente emitwaro 99 zirimo amabaati zirimo simenti n'empunu 3.
Local government staff and the project water facility field facilitators participated in the trainings of the Water User and Farmer Field School Association committees, as well as that for the lead farmers.
Now here, I've always discussed with my committees here. Ngatwogera ku dam, ngambuza ne dam entalina kakiiko yabaaki. I was looking for fees, water tariffs. Because abantu bangi bakozesa ddamu eyo kyokka buli omu agikozesa nga bw'ayagala najja n'alyokayoza emmotoka n'amala n'agenda omulala n'afukamu n'amala abengi nabo ne baleeta tutaddewo tteeka ki okusobola okukozesa ddamu yaffe obulungi n'okugibezaawo mu mbeera ennungi akakiiko kano
Participation in the trainings enhanced participants' knowledge on the concept and status of farmer field schools.
Omutano burimu urimu chikweta enkora enchi
ati ni byebyo bina byaki byabayingi n'abalisa ababayingi n'abalisa arosa akweje lyo munda yabo nakachiko kati nakachiko kamizi ekiri kumanyisa ngo akachiko kamizi aka kari wabwachi abwa damage leyetagwa ki abahingi n'abalisi nobwo kubiwe mare nakwisha tutanywire mizi orebe kirakubeko.
Approach to determination of water user fee as well as some of the adult facilitation skills.
Mbanjagala sisuubira nti omuntu asena amazzi olukiiko bwe lunaatuula nti buli muntu asena amazzi esinti 5 week if not 2000 we look like as stupid what anahagana because damweyo kwalia wasena amazi nakatuna ngakolacho nafunamu.
The Water User and Farmer Field School Association committees were trained on the operation and maintenance of the water facility.
Kitwataho twene mabantu kweta government kweta facility sheka ikatugoma mu mukono rirare nabwe n'ikintu cyakazi. So niyo reporting cyenye gamba facility yitu no muturiyo tukore byona amiza ngaza kutuyamba irrigation and what kunka cyitaga kugira amani mingi kugira ngo twamaintain that facility.
Ishongeriye mu buyonjo umoyo mulamu tugenda naki no mu buyonjo mulamu bubanga toshobora kweyonja notafa kudamu eyo ugenda kola ki ujja kufa
nyene amasiko ngo damu ejirira abantu mugasho gw'amani ekikwatirine namizi ekikwatirine nebinyansi ekikwatirine na buri kimwe cyona abokuba tukimanya ngo amizi nugo magara abokuba amizi higatari tino muntu rukubasa kubaho.
For every water facility, the Water User Committee was charged to hire a caretaker who will be in charge of allocating the water to the users and providing information on water uses to the treasurer. For financial management, the association was instructed to open a bank account and to have 3 signatories, that is the chairperson, treasurer and secretary, to sign on the withdrawal forms. The district and sub-county leaders thanked Ministry of Water and Environment for enhancing the use of the water facility for increased agricultural production. They also appreciated 3A consultants for implementing the project and organizing the election of committees.
Chairperson workers of LC1 na tuarumu shabu Simbaranga Agwisha Hinji kandi alida ya kwanza kuachira abagenzi betu twireni imwe kanda kusubira tegereje nibarukwisha nongera kusinya abantu babagenzi banje kubona agukwizira umudugire kandi mukakwata ishaha kandi amazima gariko yenda twatangije hamwe tera abagenzi bitaho umuntu.
At the end of the day, the committee members and their farmers were requested to replicate the practices learnt in their groups and at household level. The amount and quality of water in these facilities would highly depend on the management of the water catchment areas. Management of the watershed involves putting in place soil and water conservation measures, observing sanitation and hygiene in homesteads and landscapes. Meetings were held among the field farmer schools members with attendance of the local council and sub-county division representatives. The farmers selected for the trainings were based on catchment area of the respective water facility within the watershed area. During the stakeholder analysis phase of this assignment, it was noted that there was limited soil and water conservation measures put in place by the communities and poor hygiene and sanitation around the water facilities. As a result, there was reported soil erosion, deforestation, burning of bushes, cutting trees for charcoal, improper use of agrochemicals. It was therefore important to put in place proper watershed management strategies to ensure sufficient and quality water flow into the water facilities. At the facilities, water stakeholders were sensitized on negative environment practices and their effect on the water inflow into the water facilities.
Emiti no mwangu atari sideria yakwa hari abimiti yo mukinga mingi munongo noza kweshanga ato muri imwe mwakurisa chance ejo okuza kutimera emiti byose makara twine kizibe cy'amana muno gukinkure kitwina hano ya damu iki ekizibe kirya kanuya ekituteka kutona kwatanisa twayamba bakwasibo vunanzibwa nente nempunu eri nezo mizi no mwangu nendwi nereto bwiri ni urugo kutaka ni namazima twateka ubukiko ubu nubuza kurwanisa imwe konka niwe banzo yerwanisa umutima gwawe.
Farmers were informed that watershed management influences quality, quantity, water inflow into the facility, and improper watershed management may result into reduced or diverted water inflow, leading to insufficient water in the facility.
Njagala okubategeeza nti ennyanja eno mujagala ng'abatuuze b'ekitundu kino naye ate mugikola bubi nnyo. Ennyanja mugitulugunya naye temulaba nti mugitulugunya. Ennyanja eyo singa bukya n'ekala abamu bajja na kutondoka.
Insufficient and poor water quality in the facility will affect not only agricultural production but also the health of water users.
Damu eno munywesezaamu ente ne mufuuyiramu ne mupamamu naye effects ezigenda kuddira mmwe sifi kubanga bonna olwaladdayo kolera oba dayolino oba typhoid sinze ngenda okukola ki waliwo n'endwadde endala ezijja oluusi nga wayiseewo emyaka ng'esatu.
Ekigambo ky'amaizi nekiteganisa munonga n'ogambira omuntu omukwezi ayanga kurra omugira kome mpunu ayanga oriya kigikome oriya yegikomoro eje kurya byigi ogambira omuntu ayina amagezi reka kuteeka ente mu maizi ayanga.
Farmer field school groups were sensitized on proper hygiene by construction of hygiene and sanitation facilities at the household.
Ensonga nyingi bwegambaho ab'obulungi bw'eshaaha nyenda gamba ebintu nga tushaka. Ekyokubanza ekyo ndagambaho ni latrines toilet. Sidio yabagambira rwakabe twatwine kanso yego muranye butanga. Nina tsi ya ngwese kurtare wakanso nina tsi yazandi. Bachiya manero siwa numuza kusasira. Tuza kubagambira. Mushakore ntugonka enjura.
Some of the recommended watershed management practices included afforestation, agroforestry, soil and water conservation measures, sanitation and hygiene measures. The assignment was meant to aid in creating awareness among the field farmer school members, water users on the importance of watershed management and related management practices and technologies that could be adopted. It was also to help in enforcing positive watershed management practices and also guideline developed as a reference in watershed and environment management training and community work. The main goal of the project was to develop and utilize water resources for productive use of domestic water supply, irrigation, livestock, watering, and fisheries. In doing so, the project is to help reduce poverty and increase water storage, especially during dry seasons. With the support from Ministry of Water and Environment and the initial trainings and sensitization undertaken among the farmer field schools within the catchment areas of the facilities provided by 3A consultants, the following benefits have been realized. Farmer field schools set up by 3A consultants around the dams were offered land for demonstration garden to grow quick maturing vegetables and other crops to enhance their incomes as well as ability to operate and maintain the water facility. Farmer field school groups were provided with irrigation equipment and other inputs which they installed on their demonstration gardens, and it has helped them to increase their yields. They now grow crops throughout the year due to availability of water. This has helped farmers produce more food, increase their income, and improve the resilience of their livelihood, as well as improvement in their savings.
Ndi chairman wa grupu y'abahingi barisi umusoro gwingana hikitana gurumu grupu ibiri mbwenu buri grupu ina makama 13 hakayija ekitongore cyatushomesa okuhinga obusoro bwahaka beja batwegesaho kuhinga emisere mihango batkora irrigation emisere mihango ntuhinga kabejizi watermelon beetroot nakati na nebihimba ebihimba ntubihinga mu season ez'abandi bakuba batahingire kugira ngo tubihe mu sente ati bamemba bona mbahinga bashemereirwe sente zituyambere okushomesa abana no kweyombeka omu maka gaitu. Ebihimba ebyo ntuba ntubiguza omu myanya gyetwetoroire ntuguza ari abiri tuguza sangano na no mu kityaza kubikuba bingi twatwerezeho watermelon nyingi na kabegizi tutambuza ntuhika za Mbarara. Entaniseriho okutwabe turi enyuma tukaturi aborogo ebitongore ebyo bitakayizire kandi n'ekindi tukatakamanyire kwekorera ekintu no kuronda musente. Kandi entanise ndijo eyindi kurebaho abataragire mu gurupu hati nebetengitwa bagire mu gurupu abo kubitwa bwire bwona ntuhinga obwiro bakuba bashitamira omuka itwe twina amaizi ntuba ntuhinga ntufuna sente n'ebyo kurya. Bamemba ba gurupu nibasima ekitongore kya 3A ekyatandikira obusoro bukyo bwakiyungu bukaguma nibukura hati turija. Mbwenu bamemba ba gurupu zombi nibabasima ekitongore ekyo nibabebaza. Ejo emisiri yahaka netuyamba abana baitu tubakirwara za muhagahago obujoka kandi nanye nk'omukazi kinkwija nkyerererwe tinkuza kuronda hare emboga nimba nzine hihi hakiyungu.
Hategi niyo Mbarara Farmers Irrigation Scheme eyi amiza yigaguruka kora yiga kutuyambira hati hano ya tukaorganizinga groups zimwe muri twabe tutrainingira 10 haro groups itane zikorora aha buri group ine plot zaize kuhingamu ahantu hingana ibishayi 12 buri group ine ibishayi byaye kuhingaho ikatora n'ekingwe cyekwenda nehinga buru izoba kuruga kibanza cyo mwaka kakindi cyo mwaka kataro kutegereza season amizi ntukoresaga enyanja tubasanga tuza kuba ntuhinga kuruga kibanza cyo mwaka mpaka kibanza cyo gundi mwaka. Haro plot yo kubanza ya chokamba misho haro ya karoti twagumiza mutu za hantura kigumiza mutu za green pepper haruguraro watermelon ukigumiza mu buri group ine kingwe cyahingire mpaka kwika muhero ekazi 12 hona hahingire hine bihingiremo.
The Ministry of Water and Environment also supported farmers with water tanks in an effort to address the issue of drought for these farmers. These have helped farmers on their kitchen and demonstration gardens, as well as their livestock animals. It has also helped them in their households.
Navuga hasifa Mbarara mu Sembabule district. Amazzi twakirirange eyo wansi ne tufunayo amazzi. Naye amazzi ago twalina abantu abali babeera mu kitundu wansi eyo. Abantu ne basenguka, we basenguka ne baguzaawo abalala. Ekyamazima abalala baatugoba ku luzzi olwo olw'okumpi. Ne batugamba mugende musene ku lweri ate yo walako. Naye mu kiseera ekyo kye baatugoberamu twagenda olaba Mukama Katonda atuweereza tanka. Ne tusanyuka ne twebaza Mukama Katonda kubanga yagira mu kiseera ekizibu. Nakeeranga ne ngenda ne ndeeta eddomola y'amazzi ziba ziwera ssaawa 6 oba 4 5 amazzi ne gaggwamu. Mu musana ssaawa 7 8 n'odduka ku luzzi n'oleeta amazzi olina okufumba ago nago ne gaggwamu n'okwoleza abaana. Naye obanga ogenze ng'omukazi kangeze nganze mbadde lubuto nga kijja kuntwalira essaawa amazima n'oddayo aganaasulawo ge munaakozesa enkeera by'ebidomola 3. Nalina ebiseera ebyo abaana 3 abasoma bato naye nga bakomawo ababiri basiibayo ku ssomero akamu kaali tekasobola sena bulungi mazzi nga tosobola kagamba naye bana obukulumu bwasiibanga ku ssomero olw'eggulo n'olaba ng'okawadde badeni kagende ku luzzi bukomawo kiro ssaawa 11 mu butuufu agenda okutuuka ewaka okudda nga ssaawa 1 ng'eweze alina okunaaba alina okwoza ebintu naye ssaawa yakati wenjogerera tekikyasoboka kubanga amazzi gabeerawo bakomawo ku ssomero ne banaaba ne basobola okukola ne homework. Mbutuufu abatuwa tanka ab'ekitongole ekyo abatuwa tanka beebale nnyo kubanga twava mu mbeera eri gye kale tanka we yatuuka ewaka twakyuka amazzi tufuna agatukula ate eri twali tufuna gaddugala nga tosobola naganywa nga newe gaba mafumbe obeera otya okuganywa ogamba oba tegayidde bulungi naye tanka eno okuva we yajja amazzi gatukula buli omu atwesiimisa. Ekyamazima abatuwa tanka obubaka bwe mbatuusaako bebale nnyo bebalire ddala balinga abategeera nti no mu butuufu twetaaga ttanka.
Amazina gange nti Mwine Payasi nsangwa mu kyalo kya Kiramadi LC1 tukabasa kufuna ekitongole kyokukora aha by'amaizi kyabasa kutuhereza tanka ebaze kutuyamba mu kufuhirira okutuhereza amaizi marungi tukafuna amaizi g'okuhinga ahabwokuba n'obwire bw'omushana n'obureeba konka noreeba nyowe egi eshaaha tinkwenda kumanya ngu n'omushana okwandi nimpinga enyanya zange tinyine buzibu bwona kandi mbaze kufuna amaizi marungi agu nabe ntakafunire ahabw'ekitongole ky'eby'amaizi ekyakwatanisa n'aba 3A.
Amazina banyeta Mareno Munanda Korga Kitoke Mabera Rwanyamahende Town Council nimbanza kusima ekitongole kya Water and Environment tukatandika no kushoma twakora bwa kitchen garden twesha twakora hemisiri ya za groups beja baturaganisa kuja kutereza amatungo groupe zirabe zikozerege twahingaje twasharura beja baturetere embuzi omukwezi ko 11 twabere turyaho bagaruka beja baturetera tanka yo kwihama amezi go kuhereza amatungo geitu na no kurebera kwa kitchen gardens weitu nsima ministry steine bugariciro ahubwo ko byetoirete bugasirwemo kandi ate ntuceyongera kubuganyirwamo embuzi no muzireba zeire no koyongera zeyongeire aho twabetaka boine tanka amezi tukantambranka half kilometer kuzakabona amezi go kugaburira embuzi zeitu konkati kutwaboine tanka hatembu zeitu zirije zinemo bwato ubwo bwato mukureba no bwe bishu deno bwa mezi buryo ko munda ntuyaha mezi tugateka ko munda gembuzi go kunywa mwene twine nshonga hati tuyaha mezi go kunywa hati twashimya mezi geize babo kwa mukatwereza mezi marungi ntuyaha go kuteka
Nyeta Iva Katongole sime kitongole cha mizeki yabatereza amizi shikere bihingwa byitu yatkatu inekizo cyo kushikera amizi yakuba tukabantu bantugiye hari mushanga wateka musente nyingi kandi otine ko kuziha omwe bo wahinga bufa bojyangwa amizi ngabagara make tabishikere kujyangu gabmare kwiha afana amizi ago tubasima kwa wakatwereza na watering can zezi tukoresa kushikera ebihingwa bitu bikabonera embogezi wabo zinomuka nisiyamba mostly nkitwa abakyara twacuza munonga shabe sente abashija kugira ngo buruna kunoba nozo mu katare twina abana bato emboga zimwe birisa bingi nizibayamba kugira ngo bakoreje cyo cyonka kandi twabantu abakuru
Kashiza Bashiru chairman w'obwengero Valley Dam twetungure group ni nsima aba ministry y'ebyamizi na n'obuhangwa ba abizere kuni Isingiro bakatusomesa okuhinga emboga bakarga kuhinga emboga bakatusomesa okutubasa kweyambisa amizi agebidiba bakatuyamba omukano okuhinga bakagaruka bakatuhereza amatungo go kurisa bakatuhereza embuzi biza batuhereza na taxi tuzina hanzizi nazo niziza kubanza tuyamba kuba itobwire bwe cyanda ntubatine mizi ombizi bandigoma kandi nabataka hatinkanye we ndio mutahi wago egitanka neza kunyamba aha business yanje ya mizi kubani impereza abantu mu cyaro ndugaguze ati nyondi chairman wabatahi ba mizi konka amizi ago sente zitukihama tugaguze mu tawuni sente zituyihamu zireberera ekidiba cy'amizi gasusa zihamu borofa kandi nito tuyihamu akakuri
amazina ganye ni Escovi yatusasirwe Flora na akatuyamba yateraho tanka ntahamizi nko kukikwena ubuyabeta akagiro kandi tubona na mizi konka kuyagiro twabona mizi kabata kurungu kandi ntararho mwanya konkata he tanka he zero ha twachigaruka yento tahago kuno katushangaga mabenu ganungu nana manure nkofa wanywerayo nkakutwabwina marungi
Seji ne ya 3A support yayo tugisima abo kutsupportinga kagumanetereza n'abashomesa okutwakwasa kuhinga okuhinga okw'omurembe kandi turi kuhingira aha myanya mike tukihamu amagoba mingi okusyana hati obutwizire government ekatereza irrigation konka nabwe turi kurabira omusiri A hamwe na Ministry of Water and Environment yatereza irrigation omuri Mbarara parish eshahegera kukora kandi yitwinemu emisiri twatandikire kwa vestinga turiyo tukora nayo ntigisima Government of Uganda na Ministry of Water and Environment hamwe na n'ekitongore kya Siri ekyatwihira hansi ekyatwihira mweno okweto kugira ngo kyatwiha omukutengenena hati twemere turiyo tutambura.
3A supported the Kagango Farmers Group with 2 bulls. After fattening in 3 months, the group sold and bought another, which was again sold after fattening. The group so far has 4 bulls under fattening.
Amazina n'abataringa Franka tukatandukana tuhinga emisiri mweno misiri batwegise n'ebindi byona twihamenti twagura mentina onka twija twaguza hentemwe yo kureberera entezi tukarwaza akazamejwa na covid ko byagireme ebyo byona byaturetero kugira ngo turwaze ibi nari tureberera ebyo n'ubworo bwabe bwatahire mu byona twatunda hentemwe twagurize twizire tuyihamu sente nyingi twarigiye kugitunda twareberera ente twatigazaho balance ya miliyoni nk'eshatu twagobiremu atandika kuhereza abantu okweguza kwabere ne beguza itwe tukabagambira ikigombe cyatuhere sente nari ministry yatuhere sente twabagira ngo nimutama amagoba make kandi tukorane imwe twabahereza sente z'amagoba hatano batugobeso mu sente omo enimizitu zuruho konke kitekateko kite kitwine twena ngo tsitye n'imikumi kana sente zigumeho tumenye tuguza abantu nibaganyirwamo nitwe tuganyirwamo ezo nteko ziri kurengaho tweyongera kwesima nkoko batandikire n'emisire babere batuheire tukatandikana tubigaya konka byatugirira mu gasho mwene uko tube turyaho bagaraka baturetera na tanka eya zonte kumana zinywera hamizi mwene bintu byona nibirungi tanka ente nizinywa nitureba n'imizitu nizeyongera hate n'imizonka ziriyo miliyoni 10 na dama aho twineho damu kwena kuba kutwongeraho akasente kuko babere bateka tekeye na dame yo tugihunduza tugarika tugitereze garaka aharevu.
In Rakai Bulk Supply Kagamba, most group members have been able to prepare personal nursery beds and establish kitchen gardens, which has increased the supply of different vegetables in households. Group gardens were established and this has seen a high increase in crop production.
Eganyudwamu nganzo omuntu nafuna embizi nezali ebyana 8 ebyana 8 nimbijjamu emitwalo 4 abaana bange ne bagenda ku ssomero kati yazzeemu nezala ebirala ngenda kufunamu emitwalo 5 tufunyemu ebigimusa embizi zino bwe zimala okugira obibwazo nawe mbutereeza bwe bumala ng'omwezi nga mbutega ku kitooke nga kibeera bulungi aneyongera okufuna emmere ne bwe ntwala mu nnimiro ennyini gye ngenda okulima kasooli ajja bulungi kubanga kigimusa ekyo ate kya bbeeyi nnyo kisinga na bino bye tugula nze sikyagula bigimusa bino ebyankozesa nebyaffe byekinnansi
tufunyemu emisomo nga nze nfunye emisomo esobola okundengeza mu maaso mu nkulaakulana ne mu kumanya twebaza enkulaakulana eno gye mutuusizaako.
Ngenzero zimerera jjezi nga ndi mu kibiina kyatunuka eddaamu ekibiina kitukoze bulungi era bannanga abayigiriza abatusomesa mwebale kubanga nganze omukyala mbadde nali sirina kyemmanyi naye bwe mwaleeta obusiri ne tulima kati sikabanva buli kimu ekyomulembe nkirime waka sikyagula nnyaanya sikyagula butungulu sikyagula kabeji nze neekolera ewange mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala kutuyigiriza kubanga mwatusomesa bulungi twayiga ne tutereeza waka waffe nga ffe abakyala tetukyegomba kasente kano akukwatako n'oga nti aa nina kenjagala kankagule era twetuusaako buli ketwagala akatonotono tusobola okukagula mu maka gaffe.
Bino byonna ng'omuntu
nze kyeŋŋanyuddwa kubanga nategeera ennima y'omulembe n'ekigambo bwegasi okukolera awamu ate era n'enzira ninfuna projekiti kubanga nafuna embizi okuva mu gurupu nga nze kati ate era ku ssaawa eno waliwo embizi ng'eza gurupu ezikyaliwo zikyalunda nakyo nkyenyumirizaamu era n'amazzi ge twafuna nago ng'enyumirizaamu kuba kati sisasobola kuba newadde ng'omusana gwase nnyo sisobola kunywa mazzi mabi nga tugalina ate era n'akasente ako ketujjamu kalina engeri gye gatuyambamu oba sikulu fiizi wa mwana oba biki kali mu mbeera efaanana bwetyo.
Amazina gange ni Memore Byakato. Mu gurupu tufuniremu bingi. Tufuniremu bakatwegesa batuhereze enkoni batuhereza amatanka buli kimwe kyona mbwenu tufuniremu tuyinga bakatwa obusiru butwere ntulya emboga buli kimwe kyona tukirihaho buli kimwe kyona kara gurupu mbwenu egiti nkagimanya okunkugitenda abatakubaasa kwekwata bakayesiga gurupu ababona kwe bafa batulongosa mu nnima y'omulembe okulimira mu nnyiriri tusobole okuva mu nnima ey'eddaaki twali tulimamu naye kati ate ebyo byonna twabikoze ate tulabyemu enjawulo.
Amazina gange ndi Mujuni Benard ziryarugo siri yanjye neje akacumbeka kandi kibina cyane nikacumbeka wataka kweyamba embuzi zobone nintunge embuzi nkanyombe cyekijuki cya hano zikanzara hasi takurara higuru hati ministry kwiyampire embuzi na nekijuki cya higuru ubuhurunguru bw'embuzi kunkureta mburebo mishogo mutumba mbutekaho rero bwanyuma hago natumirwa bwenza yaza mbutivira kwena ngo toke rwanje rurebeke kurunje ningo kujya nambwe hatija umushana gutire kuno ngo atari umushana toke rwanje n'urunje munonga nindana rungasa habo bwunguru obunkwiho umumbuze zibampi.
Piggery projects were established among field farmer schools, and these have been able to produce piglets which have been supplied to all group members, hence increasing piggery farming among the group members. Improved production and management practices are being practiced at individual household level.
Embizi batuweereza tusobodde ozifunamu kubanga embizi ezo zizadde bammemba 28 bonna buli omu amaze okuganyirwamu.
Target number 1 yali yakulaba nti buli group member aba n'embizi afuna embizi gyalundira ewaka ewe naye ng'ate project ya group esigaddewo ekyo group zikoze bulungi nnyo era nga bwe mulabye ezimu ze tugenzeemuko naye ng'ate era n'entandikwa mu kufuna embizi ezo era ekitongole 3 strategic management plan kyekyatuwa entandikwa ne kituwa embizi ne kituwa sente zimba ebiyumba byonna nga bye bye mugenzeeko kati n'abalala bagenze batandika okukola ebyabwe
kubanga buli omu alina embizi ewuwe abamu bazaazana dda era kati ze zizaala tutunda netujjamu ssente wetwongera mu gurupu yaffe era enfuna enyingiza yaffe si embi kubanga mu kaseera kano omuntu asobola okubanga omwana alemeddwa okudda ku ssomero netumukwatyamu akasente netumuwola n'agenda n'azzayo omwana ku ssomero mubiseera bye tubateesezza n'akazza ne kaddawo era tetukyagenda mu banka kudduka mu banka ate ebibanja byaffe ebitwaliddwa biki kubanga akasente kaffe ebiseera ebisinga obungi tuba tukayina balaba nga era embizi tuzirunze bulungi zimaze okutandika okuvaamu ne bagamba naye muzaaziza era muwaddeko bammemba buli memba ayina biseera ebyomusana mugenda kukola mutya tugaa tetumanyi ne bagamba amazzi ogenda kuddamu mujja kusena naye ate bwoba osenera famire eyiyo nga n'embizi kwotadde mutuufu bijja bamenya tubadde tulina endowooza endala ne batuweereza tanka ne batulagira okuba ntugizimbira obulungi tugiteekeko engogo tusobole okufuna amazzi ago tuve mu kunywa amazzi ag'ebidiba oba oliawo ne mumusana bwe banga wabaddeyo ekigaanyi nga tusobola okugyako amazzi ge tuweereza ensolo zaffe era kati wenjogerera amazzi tugayina mbungi kale engeri gye tuli kumpi netawuni yo yennyini olumu bajja nga baagala amazzi amayonjo ne tubaguza ku mazzi ezo ssente zidda mu nsawo yaffe era ne tuba nga tulabirira bulungi ebisolo byaffe tetubula kasente nti embizi zaffe tezifune kyakulya kasoyi ne banga akendedde naye tugula kyaki kubanga ssente weeri.
Kitamuza Twimuche Farmers Dam Group after receiving working capital from 3A consultants, was able to establish a piggery farm whose multiplication has seen each member establishing a personal piggery farm and later a group garden. This has indeed improved the income of individual members.
Amazina Adonia Nzuri, guno mchara wanje kandi tukora hamwe projects ezizi kandi twine member 30. Kutwahereze ebyo kuhinga biza batureteraho projects ezo kurisa. Itwe umukuriso kwitu ekigombe cyakatuje tukore group karunda okurisa empunu. Abo kuba tukarishanga ngo empunu nizara abana bingi. Empunu zitu ezi muzireba kandi hamwe n'abagenzi banje ba member ba group numbareba mbaba so ntubasima munongo kubasa kuta project egi. Okureba ngo mukatempunu mwatwa ekiju cyazo mbwenu mwatwa byona ntubasima tuziheme ibintu bingi ba member bagenzi banje aba amukureba n'abandi batariho baganyirwemo kuba buri member yihira cyane tempunu yakitwira umukaye
unu yanje yeza gukora njaganyirwa mu cyango ngo ndeka tekere nimbasa kurebera reka yanje umwenyo mukenje ukeji mboneze ka yanje mweno shange yone boniri kandi nganyirwa mu ngarike semese nabana namununga kune tuzovune cyabana kusoma ati nyempuno nimbani nzorora muri yasenya musente zo kusomesa abana nyombe cyo samutanka muri kune tuzubona mize ntwandu wenda mize nyinshi ibyo bisovuki kandi twabashimire kugira ngo mwatwempuno nitokatuye mwatanduka ekigenderwa cyane kuba ntiyeje mpuno.
Success stories can be noted from Kachinga and Nkobazambogo Farmer Field Schools. The latter has turned their savings into goat fattening in addition to what they were given by 3A consultants. Kachinga Farmer Field School members have adapted and improved the goat structure.
Mtadova Elfazi ndi mu group eya Nkobazambogo. Group eyo gye tulundiramu embuzi. Aba ministry ya byamazzi bajje wano ne batukozesa enkiiko engeri gye tusobola okulabirira eddamu yaffe engeri n'obulungi bw'amazzi nga tebana bakutuwa project eno gye mulaba ne batubuulira engeri embuzi obulungi bwazo n'embuzi ennungi ng'obwe zandibadde baatuwa amabaati ge twazimbisa ekiyumba kino kimulaba batuyigiriza okuzimba ekiyumba ekyawaggulu ne batuwa ssente ne batulagirira embuzi zetunaagula ennungi ntuzigula ntuziteeka wano embuzi zino era tuzisolozaamu akasente ekirume ekyo kimulaba abantu bwe bajja ne baagala olulyo lwayo ne baleeta embuzi zaabwe bweziweesa ne batuwayo akasente buli omuntu tumuggyako 2,200 akasente ako tukagattagatta netukatwala ku ddaamu ntulongooseza abantu awo basenera amazzi n'obusa buno bwe mulaba ababwagala babujja ne babunonawo ne babutwala ne batoya akasente katonotono nga katuyambako mu kugula eddagala katuyambako mu kulabirira embuzi zino embuzi olusinga erwadde. Twatandika nga tulina embuzi 5 kati ne zizaala ne ziba embuzi 10. Kati naffe ntwekolamu omulimu abantu 7 ne twongera ntugulayo embuzi ng'ekibiina. Twagula embuzi 5 enkulu nazo nzizaala katuyina embuzi 20.
Mr. and Mrs. Kato, who are members of the group, have established a good goat structure similar to what was built by 3A consultants, and it can accommodate their flock. Ms. Nuamanya Media, who was recruited by 3A to facilitate the farmer field school groups for Oweyongero Valley Tank, has now established an agro shop in Indizi Town Council. This was as a result of numerous demands from farmers to have access to quality agro inputs. The new enterprise has given employment to Miria as well as access to quality inputs by farmers.
Amazina Nuamanya Media okuruga Indizi Town Council Isingiro district. Ninkorana n'ekitongore ekya 3A kandi ekiri gukora ahansi y'ekitongore kya Ministry of Water and Environment. nyowe ninkora nka community facilitator Omonden's Town Council ni facilitatinga ebibiina mukaga ko kutwatwabirebereho tubashomesa obuhinji n'obureisa nyenda nsimethiri muringo gwanje nka facilitator nshomere munonga ahabwegese bubampeire natekateka munonga aha muhinji owunyinaho mundeinzi nagezaho kugira ngo intandikeho akaduka k'embazi y'abahinji ekitukweta ngo agro shop so embazeji kagitandikira abo kugira ngo kutwabentu shoma na 3A twashanga baza kuhinga emboga baturetaro samples z'embazi twashanga abahinji banje babasa ku approaching embazi kandi ari kurugahare so nagezaho najante nanyekanye yemerere ntekeho edukeji sharing knowledge n'abahinji abo kubasa kumpikaho kandi ngaruke sharing knowledge n'abarisa ahabo kuba departments zona ntuzikora tuno buhinji na no burisa so edukeji ntujeta merino agro shop neshangwaho mu Ffs Town Council opposite na Bukanga Dairy Farmers so niko tukora tutyona n'abahinji bitu n'abarisa bitu so twansima rahanga kandi kumushaba atongera amani atongera obwenge tugumiza mu tukora kandi tukorera ihanga ryitu ruhanga aryo mu bwezi witu for God and my country.
For a continued smooth running of the project, it was recommended that for future interventions, landlords who own the land surrounding the water facility should be taken into account to ensure smooth project implementation. The project will need a lot of support from the district local government in terms of supervision and monitoring. It was noted that when farmers are mobilized into groups, they benefit more in terms of knowledge sharing and collective action. Farmers who ran away from the groups during the inception are now coming back, having seen the benefits accruing to the group as a whole. It was also noted that setting up a demonstration garden near the water facility enhances group cohesion, incomes, and collective responsibility to maintain the water facility. Kitchen gardens at household level have enhanced household nutrition and incomes. However, some of the facilities require improvement in abstraction systems to operate effectively.
Ojani